Hi everyone, welcome to Career with Kalpi. In the last session, we had a phenomenal conversation with Shraddha on data science and quantitative analytics. The link for that session is available in the description below. Today, we have Shruti Rustagi, who's currently the CFO for Amazon's $3 billion Canada Consumables business. Shruti has 15 plus years of corporate experience in strategic roles spanning business finance, consulting, and M&A. She is also an ICF certified effectiveness coach. She has coached and taken numerous workshops on effectiveness, productivity, resilience, and purpose for clients worldwide. Shruti's mission in life is to help leaders increase their effectiveness and impact. An alumna of IIM Lucknow, Shruti loves to travel. She's already been to 28 countries and looking forward to more. Hi, Shruti. Thank you so much for taking out the time to be on this series. Really excited to have a conversation today.
Thanks a lot, Kalpi. I'm really excited to be here.
So to start with, if you could tell us a little bit more about your career journey across multiple functions and share any strategies to move your career around.
Sure, Kalpi. I think my journey has been a lot more of exploration, and it continues to be so. So I started out in consulting. I moved then closer to corporate to drive the decisions, which as a consultant, you only consult and then move out. So that was the reason I moved to the corporate strategy function for Aditya Birla Group. I stayed there and I worked on M&A opportunities. I worked on starting Aditya Birla Group Biz Labs, which was this startup incubator of sorts. And we would do venture funding through it. I got opportunity to work on the Pantaloons deal. So there were a bunch of things which I worked on, which were not necessarily connected, but each of which I really hold dear. And then as a family, we decided to move to Dubai. And that's when I decided to take a break, first time in my entire career. And I pursued something which I really love. So travel, of course. So I started a blog of my own. And then more than that, I got myself trained and certified as a coach, because that was something which was quite close to my heart. And I had decided that whenever I get time, I'm going to do that. So I continued to coach till this day. And then in Dubai, I got this opportunity to join Amazon. It was a new country, new sector, new company, everything completely different. So e-commerce I'd never worked with. And of course, it was Amazon. And the opportunity I was getting was to head the entire marketplace finance business for the entire region, MENA, which is Middle East and North Africa, 3 countries included. And I didn't want to let it pass. So I joined that. And then it seemed to be a perfect fit because Amazon really encourages movement across roles and across functions. And to this day, I have been with Amazon for about 3.5 years plus, and this is my 3rd role and 3rd team. So I worked on worldwide roles, worked on regional roles, but all of that has been really that of exploration and learning. That was the key thing in my career choices and my career journey.
Thank you so much. That's super inspiring. I have a quick follow-up question on that. Like you mentioned, you took a 1-year break. It was a new country, new role. Transitions are tough in today's job market. What did you do to successfully transition fields, roles, in a new country, and especially the move to Amazon? Any learnings that can be shared with our audience?
For sure. So a little bit of context there. So I have grown up on a heavy dose of transfers. My dad was in a transferable job, and that partially helped because I was so used to adapting to new cultures, new people, and learning and being curious about everything around me. I always had that attitude, and I think in terms of learnings that I would like to share, I would say there are 5 specific learnings. 1, I think whenever you're thinking about a new role or a new company, get the perspective from multiple stakeholders as to what do they think about your role. Very critical, because that gives you an overall perspective of the organization. It will also help you determine the right priorities. Second, stay open to learning and be curious. Ask questions. It's okay if they are dumb questions. And and more so for the dumb questions, find your tribe. Find those set of people who you would go ahead and ask anything and everything about the company, about the role, about the tribal knowledge that exists in the organization. A fourth thing I would say is figure out the resources that you need to be successful in your role. That's critical, even if you're changing roles within the organization, much more critical if you're changing roles across organizations. Get access to them as soon as possible. Now, these could be skills, these could be trainings, these could be mentors, knowledge, any of that. So identify what are those resources. And last, I think this is something that often we don't do enough. Ask for help whenever you're stuck. Just go ahead, reach out to people, whoever you think may be able to help you, and ask for help. Cut yourself some slack. You're new. It's okay if you're learning. Those, I think, would be my 5 top ones.
Awesome. Those are 5 great points. I think applicable throughout life, anywhere. So thank you so much for that. Moving gears a little bit, through your career journey, any specific challenges that you want to highlight? And how did you overcome them?
I would say I would put them in like 2 buckets, Kalpi. The first one was being a working mom. So very early on in my career, 5 years into it, actually, almost, I had my first kid, and pretty much I have been a full-time working mom throughout. That was challenging because India did not have that much of a support system in terms of trusted nannies or a lot of daycare centers. I was fortunate enough to find a few of those, support systems. My family never stayed with me, so we both, me and my husband, had to really depend on each other. So I think that was challenging. And to that, I would just say that your life partner or your spouse should be the one who should be ready to step in at all points. It shouldn't be just you who's, doing that. The other thing which I did, and I think, again, I feel I'm fortunate and also I asked for it, was my team at that point in Aditya Birla Group. They were very supportive of a working mom. There were times I was working on deals till like 11, whatever, in the night. And if my husband was also traveling, I would actually bring my daughter from her daycare back to my office, and she would be taken care of by our support staff. It was never like I had to miss a meeting. I have sat in meetings with her on my lap, taken notes, done the work, done all of that. As well as in the times when work from home was not that, not that heard of, I have almost for 3 months worked from home. Because I was expecting. So some of those things, I recommend that people should just go ahead, ask for them, even if they are not the norm. You never know. You may just be surprised by the leaders that you work with. The only other thing that I would say is transitions, like you talked about, were the one which are obviously difficult, because as you can see, I changed roles, changed industries, changed countries. And I think the one thing that really helps in all of those is be open to learning, be open to explore, and stay curious.
Makes sense. And both of them very, very relevant. The first one, very relevant for working women. I would like to say working men and women, but given our society has been largely patriarchal, we know that it's all the more difficult for working women. So I agree that you should ask for things even if they are not heard of, because you might be the one bringing about a change there. So thank you so much for that. Again, shifting a little bit to now your current role as the CFO, we would like to know, like, what does your day look like? And how have your roles and responsibilities changed as you've moved up the ladder?
So this question is the most tricky one, because that's one thing I can say about Amazon, and any fellow Amazonians will agree. There is no typical day at Amazon, but I will try to still structure it in some way that it seems typical. Usually the kind of things I would end up working on will be either related to people management or related to certain decisions we are going to be taking. Amazon is heavy on a doc culture. So for anything new or any insights, any decisions, we write documents. So I think a general day for me at Amazon will be about thinking through what are the new steps that our business could be taking for growth or profitability. Thinking through the team, what else does my team need to be successful? Also thinking and doing a bunch of mentoring for people who are either new to Amazon, new to finance roles worldwide. So I have been a first-year mentor for almost 2 years now for worldwide finance community within Amazon. So I think those are a bunch of different things that keep happening without getting into specifics. And also the question you asked about how the role evolved. So I think I started out as a consultant in a consulting company, and there the role was so much more on just building models and just doing the Excel work. Then gradually I moved on to influencing decisions. So understanding what my stakeholders, what were the key interests and what were the key questions and dilemma that my stakeholders had. How could I, with my analysis and with my experience, help solve that? Moved on to actually taking initiatives, driving big projects, doing deals. And then to this role today, it is so much more about how should we think about Amazon Canada? What is the next thing that Amazon Canada Consumables business should be doing? What is my vision for this business 3 years down the line? And how does that align with the business partner's vision? How can I drive my team to generate great results such that actually I am redundant after a point? So, those are the big things that you transition into as you grow into a more senior role.
That makes sense, and that's super helpful to know as well. Gives us a lot of insight into how roles evolve and what does a typical day look like. I think stretching that a little bit, everybody's trying to do the same thing. The same thing meaning everybody's trying to move up the career ladder, being successful, evolving their own roles and responsibilities. How do you then differentiate yourself from peers while trying to move up the career ladder?
That's a good one, Kalpi. I think to differentiate, you have to just be yourself. That's the first thing, as well as in other things, the way you influence the organization. So I'll give you an example. The role that I was in just prior to being in Amazon Canada, I actually took up a worldwide project because that is what I was passionate about. I drove that thinking across all the emerging and established countries for Amazon. And that was a big success. That just came out of my wish to do something on a worldwide basis. And so I reached out and my sponsors and mentors supported me in actually driving something like that. So that part, as well as ever since I have joined Amazon, there are a few things I have driven. So things around DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. I started a chapter. So we have something called Women in Finance Initiative in Amazon. I started that chapter for all of MENA region, Middle East and North Africa. I have been a mentor to women within Amazon, and like I said, a first-year mentor to finance community within Amazon. I have also done and started coaching pilots within Amazon. So I think there are a bunch of things. You have to identify what are you passionate about and go after them. If you think they are helpful for the organization, drive them, take ownership. Those are the things that would always differentiate you or anybody, I would say.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So then today, for yourself and for the role that you're in, how do you define success? How do you set goals?
So the way I define success is very much like I had said earlier. For me, success is leaving a role or a place much better than what I had found and making myself redundant over time. So making sure that the team that reports into me is fully equipped and has the experience to drive decision making with senior leaders. The second thing would be driving business towards the KRAs and the vision that we wanted to grow to in both growth and profitability. The third one would be setting mechanisms and processes and systems in place such that it is a seamless operations as much as possible as far as finance is concerned. Of course, finance has multiple roles to play. It is not just reporting, it is not just FP&A, it is not just, investment decisions. It's a mix of all of these and then taking it one step further to thinking about the business strategy as a whole. And so therefore, across all of these functions, I try to make sure that we make automated decision making as much as possible, support our business partners as much as possible. And then our work really elevates to helping the organization take decisions and move towards the long-term vision. So that is how I would define my success. I know it's a little fuzzy, but it boils down to very specific tasks and goals that me and my team takes every year.
That makes sense, and that's a pretty good one. Lastly, I would say, I think you've already mentioned a lot of this in the previous questions, but as you know, you're passionate about mentoring and coaching. You are an effectiveness coach yourself. What is the role of mentors, coaches, sponsors in your life, in your career life, and in your success?
Huge, I would say. So I did not have mentors in the initial part of my career, but I did have managers and skip level managers who were almost sponsors for me and my ideas. And I think that played a big role because that helped me actually differentiate, that they helped me drive my passion projects that got visibility of the organization. So that's one big role that a sponsor always plays, is helping you guide towards what might be a good outcome, and then providing visibility to everything that you're working on to the bigger, platform and bigger, larger organization. The mentors, on the other hand, have a different role to play. So I have had two mentors within Amazon since joining, and their role in my career has mostly been about supporting me on everyday questions, supporting me on thinking through how, as I progress levels, how should I be thinking about my role? How should my interactions be structured with my senior leadership? What are the things that my senior leadership is concerned about that I need to start addressing upfront? Those kind of inputs, these are not skills that you can study and learn. These are the things that you really need mentors for. And coaches have a very different role to play. Coaches are the ones who are pretty much standing by the side, helping you, clear your mental blocks and then move towards the goals that you've set out for yourself with full vitality and energy. So I think all three have their own specific role to play. And it's always good to have the one that you need at that time the most, to have access to them.
Makes sense. Any last tips or advice to our audience?
Yeah, I would just say that, remember that life is not a steady upward curve. So you are going to have challenges and issues. And when you look back in life, those would be the most interesting things that you would have faced and overcome. That'll give you the sense of joy and fulfillment. So stay happy, have fun, and I think always be curious about the next thing that's coming your way.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shruti, for the wonderful insights today, sharing your amazing journey with our audience. We wish you a lot of success in your career, and I'm sure you'll continue to inspire many across the world. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone.
So much, Kalpi.
And thank you, everyone, for watching. I'm sure you enjoyed this conversation, and I'm sure you got a lot of helpful insights. Please let us know in comments if there are any questions that you want to ask based on the discussion today, or if there's any career path that you want to know more about. Stay tuned to Career with Kalpi. Keep safe. See you in the next video.